All right, welcome back to turn 10. For me, it's just a couple hours later after at least turn 9, but it's a whole new video, so it might be a couple days. I'm working a bunch this week, so might take a minute to get everything out. We're just kind of do a little flyby to refamiliarize yourself. So far, the French are holding both, their side of the river. There's no British units or German units across. They're massing up pretty well. I don't think anyone's faltering right now. I'll do a double check around. Over here, we've had tons of British skirmish fire from the skirmish line and from two light infantry British KGL units put into skirmish order. They've been kind of winning the skirmish battle over here, but the French are dug in pretty good. I got two full brigades over here. Only have one brigade here in the center, but they really hasn't. They've got cover from their one artillery piece, which is starting to get hit pretty hard by British guns. I've already lost one gun. British cavalry was threatening this bridge, so the French cavalry moved over to counter, and French infantry moved into square to prevent a. They're well within range of a forward's order and coming across the bridge. All three built-up areas for the French have a regimental gun, all of which all of them have one last shot or one last ability left before they're exhausted and no longer applicable. I guess it would be ammunition. And that's it. I think the British have used one CNC command, which was a chief of staff. And General Rail for the French has all of his faculties, yet both sides have two caissons. And that'll do it. We're going to roll ADC availability for both sides. And we'll get into turn 10. The British won initiative last turn, which they've done most of the game. I think one of the only times General Rail did win initiative. Well, I know one of the times he did. I think he won it twice. He had to give it away to get another, to get one of his brigades to be unhesitant because he had the entire, about 3/4 of the force was shut down. So that's where we're at. All right, so both sides rolling 6 ADCs for the time being. Both sides have 4 ADCs available for this turn, and British will be getting placed first. Just going around picking up. Doing some housekeeping stuff from last turn, and I got some hesitant markers over there on the French side. I'll get those in a minute. Alright, let's see what we're going to do. The British are going to put a skirmish tasking over here on 4th Brigade, their General Stedman. He's bold, so he'll get an automatic reroll with that. They'll also put a reroll with General Hay and an artillery assault. The plan is to continue to fire onto this built-up area. These French will probably be falling back, so these British will redeploy over to here and then increase the fire on here. Artillery pieces will continue to hammer away at the French guns. Once that goes gone, probably send another attack across the bridge. Just continue this shooting over here. Try to wipe out the French skirmish line. This is going to be a tough nut to crack anyway over here at Abu Checo, and but we're just past the halfway point, so it's time to start doing stuff. They've got to take 2 of these bridges, so maybe move forward a British line battalion and start putting fire on these squares, either force them out of squares, and then you start threatening with the cavalry again. So all right, let's see what the French do. French are going to try to play the initiative game, and all 4 of their infantry brigades commanders will get a reroll, hoping that they can get some shooting off first before they get nailed by especially British skirmish fire, which has just been pounding them. So take care what they got so far. We'll do initiative. Sorry, we'll do which brigades are active for the British first, and then we'll go ahead and get back to the French. For the British, just General Halkett on the British far right is hesitant. Everything else is good to go. All right, let's flick over to the French real quick and see how they're doing. French end up with 2 hesitant brigades, is Boyer over here, and also the cavalry under Courteau is also hesitant. Alright, so the French will be rolling, I believe, 4d6 for initiative. The British will be rolling 3d6. Very sad. Both sides end up with 5. British won initiative last turn, so they will maintain the initiative. General Graham keeping his foot on the gas. Alright, no charges. We'll get right into movement phase, starting with the British. Alright, on the British side, General Robinson took all of his boys out of line formation and put them into a column, preparing, or at least feinting, to attack across this bridge on the British right. That'll be just a joy when that happens. These British skirmishers, knowing the French were going to pull back, shifted to the right, and those skirmishers with two remaining bases did fall back before they got smoked. The Cameron Highlanders moved up to the side of the river to just get those squares into just in range, and then the squares step back an inch so they were out of range. So a little cat and mouse going on there. And then the British cavalry inched forward probably about 6 inches, just getting a little bit closer, just trying to be a little bit more menacing. But that's movement phase, so we can get into skirmish fire. We'll start off down here before I start panning too far to the left. Alright, so we'll start off with this skirmish fire from the skirmish line from, not Anson's, who is this guy? Oh yeah, Stedman's brigade. 4 bases, and they have the skirmish tasking. So boom, this is going to kick up to 5, to 6, to 8, and then come back down by 3 to 5. Great shooting by those Highlanders as they put 2 more casualties on the Girona garrison, and they'll force a discipline check. Looking for a 7. They fail that, so they are unformed and have 4 casualties now. The 60th Royal American in skirmish order. They're going to get 6 shots and lose 3 of them for shooting across the river to garrison. That's the best outcome those gentlemen could have hoped for. They put them up to 5 casualties now, 1 away from being worn. These skirmishers here of Hayes' brigade, 3 bases. We'll end up with it's just 2 shots, so they go. Finally have 5. Yeah, they lose 3, so 2 shots against the garrison there at Gamora Mayor. And that's awesome. They put a casualty on them, and then we'll get, I think, 4 shots. Let me just check real quick. No, 3 shots from these gentlemen at the same objective. No casualties from that skirmish fire, but they are up to 4 now over here. Now we'll get the light battalions, both firing at Boyer's skirmishers. Oh yeah, they would have reformed, I forgot. Let me take that away. 4 shots from the 2nd KGL light. No effect from those gentlemen. Now we'll get the 1st KGL light firing at the same skirmish bases. They do 1 casualty, raising them up to 2, and then finally we get these 4 skirmish bases from Halkett's brigade, who would normally get 6 shots, firing 3 into Abu Chuko. They're up to 5 casualties now over there. That ends the British skirmish firing phase. The French will shoot back. We'll start with this garrison firing 4 shots back at these skirmishers on this side of the river of Halkett's. That raises them to 2 casualties. Over here, Boyer's skirmish screen of 4 will shoot 4 shots at the 2nd KGL light. A fire across the river will raise those gentlemen to 3 casualties. We look at the absolute insanity at the bridgehead here. The French are not looking too unimpressive themselves. Alright. Now we move down to the next built-up areas. These gentlemen fire across the river. They'll pick on the guys on the left that have They're going to try to drive them off. They're down to 3 bases. They'll get 4 shots. They do put a casualty onto that skirmish screen. That is of General Hayes, forcing them down to 2 bases, and they will drive them off next turn. They'll be moving. And the unformed garrison of Zadorra will fire 4 shots at the Highlander skirmish screen, dropping down to 3 against those gentlemen. Just trying to do 1, and they'll remove another skirmish base. Mission accomplished. They do 1 casualty. They're down to 3 skirmish bases now. As they lose 1, that'll end skirmish shooting. Go on into British artillery fire. These guys will fire once again at the French guns. Thankfully, these gentlemen are elevated, so they can reach that far. And they have 9-pounders as well. So 4th Brigade fire regular inferior blast or battery fire against the French guns. Those guns suffer a casualty. They're up to 4. Now the British guns over there are going to do artillery assault. Inferior fire with 2 extra CDs against these gentlemen. Ah, the Death Star blast. I don't even know. So it's a destiny roll. We got casualties. The 2 extra CDs hit. This could be brutality. Alright, they inflicted 4 casualties before the destiny even rolls. Let's check that one. I'm going to put that marker on General Hay just to remind myself. I use that from infamy and sharp practice. Wow, they recover a casualty, which they didn't have. That would have been nice if they could have passed it on to somebody else. But their brigade commander also becomes bold now as they roll another double 6 on their destiny roll, which is absolutely insane. All right, let's go put 4 casualties on those guys. They're up to 8 now, so they're worn. Plus, they have to take they're going to be cut down to reservists for their discipline check. So looking for an 8, or it's they're going to be running away. They also go unformed. So now they're worn and unformed. They'll just be firing 1 CD. Yeah, they'll just shoot straight ahead at those. Well, I have to try to make a discipline check to avoid not doing counter battery fire, right? Oh, let's see if they can pass that. They pass a discipline check. They're going to fire at the 2nd Nottingham, and they'll get bounced through into the North Gloucester with just 1 CD each. 59th suffers a casualty, no bounce through, and that'll end turn 10. Wow, artillery doing great. So is the British skirmish firing. French skirmish firing, not too bad themselves. Cool. We'll get right into turn 11. Alright, time for turn 11, ADC availability. Heck yeah, here we go, baby. It's both sides rolling 6 ADCs. General Ray will end up with 6 ADCs, General Graham with 4. So the French have a slight advantage here going into turn 11. Alright, British won initiative last turn, so they'll be placing ADCs first. British are putting everything they've got into General Amtida. They're going to try to send him across the Zadorra again. Germans are like, what the hell, man? What'd we do to you guys? They're getting used to soften up the French. Use that last artillery blast. I don't know. We'll see if it works. I don't have high hopes, but maybe we'll get lucky. If you don't do it, you're not going to win. So that's it for the British. Let's see what the French do. First thing General Rail is going to do is bring up a caisson and replace some of the guns and gunners of 2nd Brigade's artillery, cutting them down from 8 to 6. I don't remember if you can do. I know you can spend as many caissons as you want in a turn, but I'm not sure if you can spend all the caissons on one gun. That just seems it would take some time to bring up. I know you have an artillery park, but it would take time to bring up the guns to replace. It wouldn't be instantaneous. So I'm just going to do one per gun for this turn. And but they did get 2 casualties back, and we'll figure out the other 6 ADCs for the French here in a moment. The French placed a skirmish tasking on Boyer's brigade, and then all 5 of their brigade commanders got rerolls. So they're hoping to once again play the initiative game. We'll check for the British units' activity or lack thereof. Only General Halkett is hesitant, so they'll be rolling 3d6 for initiative. Everything else is active. General Rail's plan works. Everything's active for the French, so they will roll 2d6 versus the British 3d6. And it doesn't matter. General Graham will not be denied as he rolls a 9, and the French also get a 9. British will maintain the initiative. And he gives the nod to General Amtida. Let's see what his charge bonus is going to be to go across the Zadorra against Gamara Mayor again. Oh, they'll be going across like a boss. Okay, here we go. There go the beautiful Hanoverians, led by the Duke of York's field battalion from Ossenbrook, right into the hail of French gunfire. Again, they've been there before. They know what's up. I don't think they do. They wouldn't have done it. British are like, yeah, go get them, baby. This will be the last regimental activity for the, the last ability for the regimental gun in Gamara Mayor, as it will, they'll pull open the gate and blast into those gentlemen. The garrison will fire on them, and then we'll get closing fire from the Léger battalion. And we'll see. These guys have no casualties for the moment. They have a threshold of 10. Let's see how it goes. All right, first up, they push out the regimental gun out the door. Fire canister at these gentlemen. Ba-boom. All right, all artillery shells have been spent for the Gamara Mayor gun. They'll kind of push that up from the corner and start hanging soup kettles on it and stuff. Hopefully they'll survive the battle. They luck out, the Hanoverians. Only taking 2 casualties. They do take a discipline check, a reservist. You can see the stat board over here on the side. Let's do that roll real quick for these gentlemen. A lot of esprit de corps for those gentlemen. They keep it together. All right, now garrison fire. 5 shots into them. Oh yeah, baby, they're still going. They're up to 3 casualties now. Now the Léger battalion will fire a well-disciplined volley. Standard volley with 2 extra CDs, one because they're grenadier and one because they're being attacked by a column at point-blank range. Hanoverians are up to 6 casualties now. They've taken another discipline check. This one will be as enfant perdu because they are worn and they're reservists. And that's just too much for those guys, but wow, what an effort trying to get across that bridge. I really feel like you're getting the real feel of bridge crossings in this game compared to some other bridge crossings, so I'm very happy with the tactical advice that Scott gave me and some of the rule clarifications. It's just, and those regimental gun rules by David and Christopher Brown, amazing. All right, so these guys get savaged. They are going to retreat back through this unit, unforming them. They're going to take 4 CDs as they fall back behind all this. So they fall back to the behind the rest of their troops, and those gentlemen. Yep, let me put that on form there so I don't lose it. That's the field battalion from Bremen. And, oh, savage. I think the Hanoverian field battalion might just, or brigade might just fall back, and just so they don't lose the ADC extra roll for the brigade. They might be getting their way out of Dodge. I'm not sure what I accomplished there. I did get, there is no more artillery fire coming out of Gamara Mayor, so that's something. But I think you just got to take a shot and just hope the other side just blows it and you can do some casualties. So Otherwise, nothing happens. All right, that's my thought process. Everyone was like, God, that guy is an idiot. Yeah, I am a tactical moron. That's cool though. As long as you're not out there, it's all right. All right, that'll end the charge phase. The French didn't have any charges, of course. And we'll go into movement phase with the British going first. All right, movement rehash. General, what's this guy's name? Halkett. He was hesitant, so his line brigades stayed where they were. Skirmish and light units in skirmish formation can move. They shifted to the left to free up the bridge, which allowed General Robinson to begin his advance towards the bridge head to begin his charge. Yeah, good luck, gentlemen, after looking to the left and seeing the Hanoverians get slaughtered. The French held steady, except for over here, General Boyer's brigade rolled his two Voltigeur battalions into line, so they'll be able to do traversing fire as the British cross the river, wear them out, join in on the party. They're still covered by their skirmish bases up front. Their two assault columns kind of moved up to take this, free up the space. These guys stayed the same. French cavalry got the artillery back. These guys are kind of in a backlog. They didn't do anything over here. French cavalry held firm. Everything over there stayed firm. British cavalry inched forward, and then these guys shifted around and moved into a column of companies to possibly begin moving over the bridge themselves, but at least to pose a threat to the French. If they go into line, the cavalry comes, they stay in square, the Highlanders might be coming across, and we still got skirmish fire from over here. So decent moving. British still have initiative. We'll start off with skirmish shooting, and we got these gentlemen down here. 4 skirmish bases, going up to 6 shots, but going down to 3. I might do these at the same time with different colored dice, and then these guys would have 6 shots going down to 3. So 3 each, total of 6, but separate. No effect against the garrison over there. I have to slide pretty far down the river here. These gentlemen will fire unopposed shots at the Gamara Mayor garrison, down to 3 shots themselves. The battalion garrison Gamara Mayor goes up to 5 casualties. They're 1 away from being worn. Now we'll get both light battalions firing at that skirmish screen of General Boyer's brigade. Each light battalion is able to inflict 1 casualty on that skirmish screen, knocking them down to 3 bases, which will blunt their skirmish tasking fire back at them. And yeah, that's the way you do things. And the final thing we'll get is we'll get 3 shots from this last skirmish screen from Halkett's across at what's the name of this town again? I always forget. Abu Chuko. It doesn't matter if I remember or not. I'm going to pronounce it wrong. And that's clutch fire from those British riflemen as they raise the garrison up to 6 casualties. They are worn now, so that will reduce their fire back. Boom. Also reduce their fire as they come across the bridge. But there's still one last round of grape shot probably in there to hammer whoever comes over the bridge. All right, the garrison now return fire to the skirmishers. They would be down to 4 shots, but down to 3 with the stream. And by stream, I mean river, baby. It's the Zadorra. Oh, no effect. All right, French skirmishers from Boyer. They're going to fire at the 2nd, who they've been picking on. We got 4 bases. 4 bases going to 5 shots, plus 2 more up to 7. Losing 1 for the river. We're going down to 6. Amazing volley from the French, putting 3 casualties on the 2nd Brigade, 2nd Battalion of the KGL Light. They are now worn. They got to take a discipline check too. They'll be saving as a line unit, looking for a 7. King German Legion just too boss for that to fail that discipline check. They, yeah, Huzzah, my friends, huzzah. Garrison's already spent their rounds this turn, firing at the charge of the Hanoverians that we don't want to talk about anymore. And then we'll go to this garrison down here, and they will fire at the Highland screen with 4 shots. They inflict a casualty on the Highland skirmish screen. That's the end of skirmish phase for this turn. British guns over here. 4th Brigade's 9-pounders fire a long-range inferior blast against the French guns. Their round lands short. Now these gentlemen will fire back at these got not fire back. These guys will also fire at that same guns, just with the same type of inferior shot, long range. Holy cow! These guys are in fuego. Break out the Victoria Cross. These guys are just the last 3 rolls they've made have all been double 6s. The 2 casualties they got back, they just from the caisson gets immediately eradicated. Those new fresh guns are getting set up and they get blown to pieces as all the assistants and everything else are getting splattered all over the place. Now we get a destiny roll, then we'll get a discipline check as reservists. General Mayonnaise, second in command, was back there trying to urge the gunners to get over themselves as they're all getting blown to pieces, and a cannonball takes his head right off. Mayonnaise completely thrown into a state of shock. That was his best friend. He owed him a lot of money, but that's not going to be coming back. The brigade falters. Oh no, now they got the discipline check. They go unformed again. Wow. They'll try to pass a discipline check to see if they can fire at the Hanoverians on the bridge who are in effective range. Oh, I think if you're at effective range, they can just fire at effective range. Yes, they will. Thank you very much. They'll do that. It'll be an inferior blast because they'll get 1 knockdown because they are worn. They blast them for 4 casualties. There's a good chance for bounce through into these guys, so I'll do that real quick. They'll also have to take a discipline check after this bounce through check. They retreat. They take another casualty going up to 5. They'll take 4 CDs as they fall back to here. It's an absolute nightmare. General Amtida's attack has just turned into a disaster. He has 2 retreating units, so now he's faltered. Those French gunners probably deserve some medals themselves. Just getting hammered by British artillery fire. Still able to deliver a massive barrage to Hanoverian troops on the bridge, driving them off, faltering that entire brigade. That's clutch. While your boys are everyone around you is getting killed, they still had enough gunners and enough panache to deliver a deadly volley into the Hanoverians. Oh, that's a great way to end turn 11. Going on to turn 12. It's getting kind of bloody. We've got 2 bridge assaults, maybe 3 bridge assaults getting ready to go off. Oh, wow. Okay, once again, this is scheduled for 18 rounds of fun. Alright, welcome to turn 12, where the fun continues. Just had a friend of the channel point out a mistake I've been making, but it's almost a cool mistake. But we got to play the game right. I don't want to, if I'm going to do something wrong, it's going to be completely on accident. So I need to correct that. So if anybody's watching this game to learn how to play, we'll just clarify. So it's about the regimental guns. They fire with 3 CDs, not like a regular cannon, and they cannot fire if the brigade is hesitant. So yeah, they've been awesome, and it's been a lot of fun firing canister into people and blowing them away. But yeah, that shouldn't have happened. So the Zadorra has one last action to use over here. So we're going to kind of penalize the French and take that action away. I still want to use it correctly to see how it works. So at Abuchuco, excuse me, down there on the French left, they have one remaining ability. So they actually used their abilities right by not taking part in discipline checks. They've never fired that gun. So I will keep that there and fire that at some point to do it correctly. And unless it's hesitant, and we'll do it right. But going forward, and for any of you that want to use regimental cannons, that's how they work. Usually they're considered a discrete attribute or something like that, or add on to a unit, so they can't be fired at, and they usually it takes up all the movement for the turn for the unit. They can't move and shoot the dang thing, so you have to be stationary, and then it just kind of appears on one of their flanks and fires, and then they roll it back behind the lines. So that's the way you're supposed to use it. Steve did not do that. I want to point out two other things real quick. Actually not mistakes, so yay. I'm sure there's a few more of those, but I am blissfully unaware. I don't think they need any hype, but because they're an amazing channel. But Little Wars TV is getting ready to do a release two-part Talavera General des Armées videos, which they had the trailer out now. They must have filmed it. You know, they do some serious editing, and they're really that's just real. They're a class act in my book, and meeting them, they were class people. So they did it when, I think, with Dave and Christopher over there before Historicon, and because I know they've gone back to England now, so I think they do some pretty high speed editing. So that should be amazing, seeing a General des Armées done by those guys, GDA 2, excuse me. And also, Scott just released another video and a highlight over at Check Your Leader TV, and he's gonna be doing some Midgard. He's got some O group coming. He's also got some tips and tricks for General des Armées. I think he's gonna do like bridge defense after watching this video, and reverse slope defense, and some pointers on that, which I get to talk to Scott probably like every other day at least, just for, maybe every day. I just kind of chat with him, and he throws stuff at me. So it's a great cache of knowledge, and it's really nice that it's applicable to miniature wargaming. So the rest of you can kind of watch that and learn some things, or reinforce something you might have learned, or just something. And it's also very entertaining. And the fact that he released his video kind of was an update, and they went over some of the Gettysburg stuff that we saw and did, and the fact that he did that all on his iPhone. I mean, I use a high def camera, and I use Filmora for editing, and I probably use 1/10 of it, just like I use my brain that much. But he does a great job of editing. It makes mine look kind of sad. And then, of course, Little Wars TV is just next level. Those guys are yeah, if they ever want to do anything and invite me to it, I'm jumping on it, because they're amazing people, and what a great inspiration for any YouTuber or historical wargamer. All right, enough of the fanboying. Let's get on to turn 12, and we're still rolling 6 ADCs for both sides. We've got each brigade is one faltering brigade, so we got to try to figure that out. And I think that's it. All right, see you in a minute. French end up with 6 ADCs. The British end up with 3. That's not too bueno. All right, let's see what we're going to do here. I sure as shoot could have used more commands there for the British. Okay, over here on the bold Brigadier General Stedman, he's going to give the 60th Royal American a skirmish tasking for 1. He's bold, so he'll get a reroll there. Another bold Brigadier here, of course. And then we've got the the rally and the reroll for General Amtida to try to keep it together for the British. That's all they got. So we're talking, that's all 3 of their ADCs. I was amped to launch a couple bridge assaults there, but just that French gun ruined all my plans by hammering down on the Hanoverians, faltering their brigade. It sucked up too many resources, and then I rolled like poopy doopies. Oh, terrible word. General Rail's going to do his usual thing and just go for non-hesitant brigades. General Lamatière gets a reroll. General Boyer gets a reroll. We get a reroll and the penalty over here for General Mene after his second in command got his head blown right off by a British 9-pound round. General Courteau gets a reroll for the French cavalry. And then General Gauthier on the French right, he also gets a reroll. So they're going for everything kind of not being hesitant and not paying a penalty. And we'll see if that works. We'll start off with the forces of General Graham and see how his brigades are doing. General Halkett on the British right, 3rd Brigade commander, he goes hesitant. And that's it. Everything else is active for the British. And I believe we rally. Let me go back and check. I think I might have picked the dice up too soon on Amtida. Yes, sir. He gets a 5. He rallies to hesitant. So 2 hesitant brigades. The British will be rolling 4d6 for initiative, taking the lowest 2. The French all rally, which is awesome. Sorry, they don't rally. They do rally, though, back to hesitant for General Mene. He's getting over the fact that his boy just got blown to pieces. And everything, they're probably used, those guys are probably used to it. Everyone just woke up with somebody dead next to them or somebody dead in battle, and just you probably just got habitually used to people dying back then. It's like sucks. And yeah, that was depressing. All right, enough of that crap. Let's get out of that hole. We're here for happiness, baby. Everything else for the French is active. They will pay a 1 dice penalty for just because Mene is hesitant after he rallied back from Falter. He's trying to get his act together again. Okay, so 3d6 for the French, 4d6 for the British. Let's do this thing. Yes, General Rail pulls out initiative, and he hopefully doesn't need to surrender it because everything's falter or hesitant. So that's great. All right, so the French will be going first. There's no charges from either side, so we'll go into skirmish shooting. We'll start down here with the defenders of Abachuco. And oh, sorry, we do movement first. I apologize. No charges. We do movement. Almost messed up there. Start with the French moving first. French didn't do a lot of movement. They were happy with the way they were. Picked up a couple units that were unformed. The 1st Battalion 27th moved off to the right to just be a right flank support on their Légère in front. Nothing happened here. The French cavalry took the opportunity to go behind the built-up area of Girona to shelter themselves from the British guns. They're out there with a hit me sign on them. So that's where they are. And that's it. Let's see what the British do. Probably not a ton. I'm just thinking about it. Yada, 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 yada. Yeah, 1 second. General Hay positioned his 3 battalions ready for another bridge assault, which his men are, I'm sure, thrilled about. General Amtida, he's basically got his units that reformed out of retreat and stuff like that, because now that he's rallied. And then over here, basically, nothing happened. They just kind of, since they didn't have enough commands to do anything kind of what they wanted to, they're gonna probably just shoot away, which, not a bad idea, but we are running out of turns. All right, so that's movement phase. Now we'll go into skirmish shooting. We'll start back down here at Abucheco as the French garrison fires across the river. All right, this garrison is worn, so we'll go down to 4 shots, going down to 3, firing across the Zadorra at the British skirmish line. They do 1 casualty, removing a skirmish base of the British, which is great for getting ahead of it. They'll take 1 less round probably with from them, so that's good. Over here, these 3 French voltigeur bases are going to keep up their fire on the 2nd KGL light. They normally have 4 shots, but now they're down to 3 shooting over the river. Oh, missed opportunity. All right, the defenders of Gamara Mayor firing over the river at these gentlemen. Are these guys worn? No, they have 5 casualties. Firing 5 shots, going down to 4 against the skirmish screen of Amtida. They're able to inflict a casualty on them, removing a skirmish base. Good job by the French. And the last thing we've got is the defenders of Girona. They're going to fire across the river at the Highland skirmish screen. Those guys are still at 5, so they're not worn yet. They're 1 away, so they're going to get 5 shots, going down to 4. All right, they have inflict a casualty on the Highlanders. That'll bring the French skirmish phase to an end. The Highland skirmish line would have 5 shots, going down to 2. That's clutch, doing a casualty on them, raising them to 6. They're now worn. All right, now the 60th Royal American, who would normally have 6 shots, going up to 8 with the skirmish tasking, losing 3 for firing at a garrison across the river. So 5 shots against that same defenders. 2 more shots, raising those, or 2 more hits. Well, 4 hits, 2 more casualties. I'll get it right at some point. They're up to 8 now. That's not good. 1st Battalion, 100 and is it 18th? Yep, they're Guthrier's kind of looking at them as they start kind of looking around. He's like, "Oh, let's get some more rum out, guys. Let's keep going." All right, coming down here to Amtida's skirmish screen. They would have this is gonna be like 2 dice, I think. 2 shots against the garrison of Gamara Mayor. Their fire is ineffective against those defenders. They're dug in like a tick. Oh, I love that building. I mean, I know people can do better stuff, but that's great. If you Sarissa Precision, it's in the, I think it's in the Mediterranean kit. It's really nice because you can basically, it makes a good built-up area, and it was very affordable. So and pretty easy to put together. So boom, there you go. There's my Steve's point for this one. All right, so enough of that crap. I'm struggling. All right, so let's do the KGL 1st and 2nd Brigades, or battalions, firing at the same time at these gentlemen. They're both going to have 4 shots. No, the KGL on the left will have 3 shots because they're worn. Those 2 battalions are able to inflict a casualty on them, raising them to 2. And now we'll get 2 shots out of Halkett's brigade against the defenders of Girona. All right, they're up to 7 casualties now. After that, they're nickel and diming them. They're doing a good job. All right, going into the artillery phase. I forgot to mention it, but during the ADC allocation, that's when you're supposed to allocate caissons. General Rail used his last caisson to lower these guys down from 8 to 6. So the French are out of caissons. That's one of the 2 functions for caissons. Besides in a core level game. Some kind of it's a bit difficult sometimes. All right, so these guns here, nothing is in effective range. So they are worn. So this will just be 1 CD firing straight ahead. This would be a weak battery fire against those gentlemen. And that actually does not happen. They would have inflicted 1 casualty on them, but I forgot. They're in a hesitant brigade, so they can't fire at a long range. So we'll return the 59th to 1 casualty, and those guns will be silent because nothing's in effective range. The 2 British batteries will now do inferior fire against the remaining French gun up on the hill, and hopefully try to put it out of action for the whole battle. Holy cow, did you see that? That is insane. 211s, British Royal Artillery. Wow, I'm going to go join up right now. These guys have got it sighted in, and they are raining down death on those French guns. Let's see how many casualties that is. That would be 4 casualties and 2 discipline checks, but they only have 4 casualties to give, even after the caisson. So they just pounded into the ground, and these guys, just whatever's left, just takes off and runs. And once again, General Manet's brigade will falter. Oh! British artillery wins the artillery battle, now they can start just picking and choosing targets, and we'll get some systematic slaughter. And that'll earn turn 12 as we head towards turn 13. It's not quite getting down to the nitty-gritty. Probably said that in turn 16. But 13's usually a horrible turn for me. Well, it's very entertaining, but I usually do a lot of stupid things on turn 13. So stand by. All right, get some pictures of all this, and then we'll see you back in a minute for that wonderful turn. I guess it'll all really depend on how many ADCs I roll. All right, you guys are the best. All right, time for turn 13. Let's see if it is the usual turn of destiny that 13 usually is for me. I just want to take a quick moment to thank everyone who's been commenting on the part 1 of this video and helping me out with a couple rules, clarifications and stuff. I always appreciate that. I mean, I think one time I moved British across the river over here by Zadorra, the Highland unit. Then they changed formation afterwards because they were a veteran unit. But I think they have to, well, I know that they have to change formation first, then they can move. So that wasn't kosher. Didn't do that right. Sorry about that, everybody. And basically continued a bunch of help on the regimental guns, which have been my biggest screw up. But you know, they caught that one early after I got some help. So let's go on to turn 13. Everyone's getting 6 ADCs to roll. General Manet is still faltering for the French, and I think that's it. Once again, General Graham struggles to get his ADCs together. They're all over the place. Must have been some tea time or something going on. I don't know. That's just what I heard. So 3 ADCs for the British. French rocking with 6. French 1 initiative. They'll be placing first. General Manet is going to get 2 to get the brigade rally and the re-roll just in case. General Rail's going to stick with his re-roll functionality. Seems to be working for him. Everyone's getting a re-roll, plus we're getting the brigade re-roll, or the rally roll, whatever, on the Manet's brigade. Let's go over to the British. The British are going to put 2 skirmish taskings on the KGL Light and a re-roll on their brigade commander. That'll be their 3. Definitely could have done more this turn, but now that they have artillery superiority, it's going to be the equivalent of air superiority. Let's see what happens. French will be rolling for their brigade activity first. Let's do them. So Manet gets a wavering result, so all of his units are going to stay where they are, and all 4 battalions will take 2 CDs damage and become unformed. General Courteau with the cavalry also becomes hesitant, so the French will be rolling 4d6 for initiative. Let's do those 2 CD rolls for all 4 battalions. Pretty mean rolling there for casualties. The garrison takes a casualty. They're worn now. The 2nd Battalion, 4th Léger, they take 1. 1st Battalion, 4th takes 1. And the 2nd Battalion, 65th takes 2. And all 4 battalions are unformed and faltering. Alright, going back to the British now, see how active they are. Amtada's Hanoverian brigade becomes hesitant, but who's to blame them? They're thinking about switching sides back to the French. They're not liking that the British sent them across the bridge twice. No thank you, sir. We hate you. Alright, and I think that's it. Alright, they'll be rolling 3d6 for the British and 4d6 for the French for initiative. General Rail rocks the double ones, and General Graham pulls out a 6. So the British will win. They'll take initiative. No charges this turn. We'll go into movement. British will move in first. All right, down at that end, nothing really happened. The British are holding firm. They're going to rely on their skirmish taskings and hope they can blow away some Frenchmen. That's going to be a tough nut to crack anyway. There's a lot of French over there. Over here, the British have advanced slowly onto the bridge. They're out of range for the Légère, but the garrison could fire them up if they want to. They're just getting ready to hopefully get a go time next time. And then the Highland Brigade stepped to the right, and British guns prolonged forward. And they're now in effective range of those squares. French are going to try to hang in for a turn before they make any kind of decision, see how well they, if the artillery even has an effect on them. And yeah, they're going to get pounded by artillery from both bridges. And skirmishers down here. So the French are holding in position where they are. And we'll go into skirmish firing, starting with the British down at this end. Halkett's 3 skirmish bases here will fire 2 shots at the defenders of Abu Chuko. They're doing their part. They put a casualty on them. Now we'll do the double KGL threat against those skirmishers. Light battalion on the right has got 1 more shot because they're not worn. They put 3 casualties onto those gentlemen, removing a skirmish base, leaving them with 2, and the other base has got 2 casualties on it, so they'll be withdrawing next turn. That has absolutely 0 effect, probably less than they wanted to. And then we'll get a double threat of the 60th Royal American and the 3 skirmish bases against Girona. 2 from the Highland Brigade. And oh my gosh, they'd have 5 to go to 6, and 3 from the 60th. They are able to inflict a 9th casualty onto that garrison in there. Garrison's going to fire back. They are worn, so it'll only be 3 shots against the Highlanders. Are they able to inflict a casualty on these gentlemen, removing a skirmish base, forcing them to withdraw next turn? The worn and unformed Gamara Mayor garrison firing across the river at these gentlemen. I think they would start at 5, go down to 4, go down to 3, lose 1, go to 2 shots against them. The being unformed and worn, just too much to overcome. These gentlemen would have 3 shots going down to 2 against the, they're going to fire against the 2nd Battalion KGL Light. No effect there. And then finally we'll get the worn garrison of Abu Chuko, excuse me. They'll go down to 4 shots, losing 1 for across the river. 3 shots against these gentlemen. All right, that will end skirmish phase of the shooting turn, or whatever. I'm all out of sequence. Going to artillery. French don't have any because they've been blown off the map. Start off with these British guns. They're going to blast away at the unit in attack column because they'll get a bonus on that one. A blast at effective range. Good luck, gentlemen. 2nd Battalion 65th is absolutely murdered by that artillery fire. Those British guns have been in fuego ever since they made some changes. Wow, so they're unformed and they're worn, and they got to take a discipline check. Starting off as line, I think they're going to drop down to like enfant perdu. Just too much for them, just unopposed artillery fire. They retreat. They fall back behind the trees. They run right past General Rail, stares at him in disbelief. They're going to take 4 CDs of gentlemen just taking off and running in random directions. By the time the NCOs and officers get the battalion under control, after losing 200 guys up here from artillery fire, another 50 guys have vanished by the time they get behind these trees again. So they're They're definitely moving into the combat ineffective zone. All right, these other British guns did prolong, so they're going to get the movement column, and they're going to fire at that square in the center with an extra CD at effective range. Those British guns, hammer them for 2 CDs. They're going to take a discipline check at those cannonballs rip through their square. Oh man, let's see what happens. They're not warned yet, so they'll save his line. They pass that discipline check and keep it together, but their sustained fire like that is going to be brutal. British might just hold out till turn 18 or turn 17 and then send the boys over the river. Probably the smart thing to do. Just keep destroying it with artillery. The French just don't give up. But that wouldn't be fun. The French might attack across the bridge. You never know. I'm a psychopath. All right, we'll see you in turn 14. All right, it's turn 14. Looking around the battlefield, we still have General Manet being faltered. Everybody else is ready to go. 6 ADCs per side. Let's roll this. All right, both divisional commanders are switched on like you wouldn't believe. We got 6 ADCs each. French would have lost one, but they got that double 6, so they're back. All right, British won last turn. They'll be placing their ADCs first. All right, the British are going to go over the top of the bridge at Abuchuco. They're sending over Robinson's brigade. Infantry assault, forwards, and glory with a reroll. Wow. And then they'll do their last ADC. They'll put it into General Halkett with just a reroll, just to try to keep them from going hesitant and causing initiative issues. Everything else is kind of on its own right now. They continue the artillery pounding. French are going to do stand with me on General Manet to automatically rally that brigade. I think 3 battalions in the brigade all recover 1, which will be clutch for the defenders of Camara Mayor. They'll no longer be worn, at least for a minute. They'll go back down to 5 casualties. The other guys will lose their casualties. And the rest of the ADCs, the French, are 1 per every single other brigade to follow orders. All right, British rolling to see how their brigades are doing, if they're following commands. Only General Hay left the center is hesitant. His artillery battery is thankfully in effective range right now. So unless the French fall back, that won't be a that won't be a problem. All right. Everything else is active. That's great. Let's do the French. For the French, Gauthier on the far right, defending Girona, goes hesitant. Everything else is following commands. Of course, General Manet automatically does. His boys have recovered their casualties. The garrison is no longer worn. They got some guys back, and everything else is good to go. Both sides will be rolling 3d6 for initiative. General Rail steps up big time, wins initiative for the French for turn 14. All right, charge phase. French don't have any charges, so the British will announce their charge, and General Robinson will roll his forwards bonus for crossing over the Zadorra at Abuchuco. So the British, led by the 44th and General Robinson, storm across the bridge. They will get closing fire by lots of things. We'll go over that in detail. But it's a beautiful sight, baby. They're going over the top. And we will try to use I will try to use the correct rules for regimental gun on this one. So first up, shooting at them, basically traversing fire, the garrison of Abuchuco. They are warned they'll fire 4 shots at the 44th East Essex. They inflict a casualty on them. Okay, now we get the regimental gun getting pushed out the gate. That'll fire 3 CDs to those gentlemen as well. Oh, that's a huge difference, getting nailed by canister fire and that little pop shot that did absolutely nothing. All right, that's the end of all regimental guns. I'm kind of sad. I liked my guns better. But David, it's your rules, buddy. I'm just living in your world. All right, now this French Reserve Battalion, the 1st Battalion of the 122nd, will fire a great volley with 1 CD into a closing column of companies, or attack column, whatever you want to call it. And boom. Doing 3 casualties. Taking them up to 4. Now this Léger Battalion will fire, but they're going to split their fire between these 2 units equally. The Léger are grenadiers, so they will do a well-disciplined volley. Which has no effect. Oh, wow. Alright, so the charge will go home. The British will be rolling 3d6, taking a lower 2 with 1 support. The French will get 2 CDs plus, looks like they have 2 supports. So that's it. The British are not elite. They are the line units, so there will be no extra addeds there. After the initial charge, the British are at a 9. The French are at a 5. They're going to bring in their reserve battalion to the rear. It's going to add themselves into the fray and try to push the British back. 3rd Battalion, 118th, joins the combat and pushes back, making it a lot closer of a contest. Now they're down by 1 right now. The 2nd French Battalion on the flank will now offer their services into the hand-to-hand and see if they can beat a 3. They stumble into the combat, making it a little bit worse. French are losing by 2 right now. The 1st Royal Scots, they've got their dander up. They're going in. They're going to try to beat a 4, which is insane. Like I was saying, would be insane for any other unit, but the 1st Royal Scots go in there and just stomp the yard, raising the British total to 11 versus the French 7. Which will be a take the ground. Awesome. They've done it. They've crossed the bridge and forced them back. Wow. The defender will retreat and take 4 casualties. The support units, both of them, will take 1 CD and also withdraw and become unformed. Robinson's brigade takes the ground. It begins crossing the bridge in mass, led by the 44th and the 1st Royal Scots, who just led them to victory there. French are in disbelief as their reservists are punched in the face and sent packing to the rear of the battlefield. Unformed, retreat. They have 2 casualties. I got to put 4 casualties on the East Essex. We'll do that real quick. Holy cow. That was insane. They've crossed the Zadorra. This is on the northern side of the battlefield. I did some reading last night, so now they'll be, if they can get over this river, they can basically outflank the French right and make Joseph have a panic attack. So I think that was the point of this attack. And if I got that wrong, hey, that's just what I do. All right, so they take the ground. They're here. French are in a bit of disarray. Charge phase is over, and we'll go into movement. French will be moving first. And boom, that's absolutely nuts. What a battle. You guys are awesome. Thanks for joining me on this one. Not a ton of movement. Got these units that retreated and fell back over here from the bridge defense. The 2nd Battalion, 27th, they shook out into line. They kind of extended the line from a Léger. This battalion here, sorry about that, bad cinematography, pivoted and moved to the left, getting ready just to make sure they don't lose their left, moving over to reinforce. Their skirmishers fell back behind their Léger battalion. These gentlemen reformed back here. It was their movement after being unformed earlier. British didn't do a lot of movement over there, it's kind of held still. They're quite content with their artillery pounding. Those British over there were hesitant, and the 2nd Battalion of the KGL changed formation back into column of companies and is moving to, now that they've established a bridgehead, they're looking to pack it in and get everybody across. Alright, that'll be the end of movement. We'll go into skirmish shooting. French had the initiative, and we'll go from there. Alright, the garrison of Abuchuco already fired in the early on, so they cannot fire. We can do the garrison of Gamora Mayor. They're going to fire at the 1st Battalion 59th on the bridge. I don't think they're warned anymore. Let me look real quick. Hang on. There's either going to be 5 shots or 4. Yeah, thanks to that stand with me, they are down to 5 casualties. So they'll have 5 shots at these gentlemen on the bridge. They're not quite got their act together as they just fire into the side of the bridge, inflicting 0 casualties. And then finally we've got the garrison at Girona firing across. They're going to try... Oh, sorry, those Highlander guys fell back. I forgot to move them. So they're going to fire at the 60th with... Ooh, are they warned too? Let me double check that. Oh yeah, they have 9 casualties. Might be kind of a boogie for them. So they'll fire 4 shots, losing 1 down to 3. And the skirmishers for the Highland Brigade have moved back there. So here come those 3 shots from that garrison. I'm debating about getting out of there. Maybe the square can move back in. But I didn't do it on the movement phase, so I'll let the side down. They do inflict a casualty, so the 60th Royal American now up to 8. There might be time for them to step away as they're getting a pounding. Alright, that's the end of the French skirmish shooting. Going back to the 60th, they normally would have 5. They get 1 more for rifles. They lose 1 because they're worn. Back down to 5 across the river. 4, and then 2 for the Girona defense. That's 3, right? I was getting ready to cough right when I was doing the math, so that didn't help at all. So they only have 2 shots, excuse me. They have no effect at all down there. This week's skirmish screen down here, firing at Gamora Mayor. Let me, ooh. They also have 2 shots at those gentlemen behind the fortifications. Clutch shooting by those British rifles as that garrison is worn again, picking up their 6th casualty. 1st Battalion KGL Light would get 5 shots across at those Légers, but going down to 4 because they're by the river. That Légers Battalion takes a casualty from fire from across Girona, across the Zadorra. Now we'll get 2 shots from these skirmishers firing against Abuchuco. Just 2 shots. Which has no defense against the walls there, or no effect against the walls there. The garrison holds out wonderfully. Moving to the artillery phase, French have no guns left. These gentlemen will fire straight ahead into those guys and get bounced through into the guys behind them. It's effective fire. Both Légers battalions suffer a casualty from that fire, and then the last British gun down here on the left side of the British line, firing into this square, looking to put them out of their misery. Now these guns are in Fuegos. They rolled double 6 on those gentlemen. Oh, they did miss with the extra combat dice due because they're in square, but they're going to get wailed on. 2nd Battalion, 118th, goes up to 8 casualties. They take a discipline check as reservists now. They passed that, though. Good job. That's kind of that's brave, taking that kind of canister fire in square. Or not canister, round shot. Now the destiny rules. See what happens with that. And we all know what that means. The 11 means the high officers killed. Gauthier's executive officers out there trying to rally these squares. Keep them brave as they get hammered by a British round shot from across the river. His chest is caved in by a bouncing ball. A round shot cannonball and he is killed immediately, causing mass confusion in the ranks. The brigade falters, which is terrible, and and then the final act of turn 14 is 2nd Battalion 27th, who shook out into line, firing a volley against was this the East Essex, who crossed the bridge, the vanguard of the Forlorn Hope. Just too much pressure on them as they try to shake out really quick into line and deliver a devastating volley, which it results in them just picking up a fire discipline and no effect on the British. All right, and that'll end this turn as confusion's in the ranks. The British are across the Zadorra on one bridge. Could be crossing a few more here in a minute. Oh, wow. All right, we'll see you in turn 15. All right, time for turn 15. ADC availability for both sides. Rolling 6 dice as usual. No one's got blown off the map yet. We do have General Gauthier over there on the French right is faltering, and also General Menet in the French center is faltering. And then General Boyer is in trouble, and General Lamatière is in trouble as well. So not going so well. General Rail is... he's updating his resume just in case he needs to pivot to a different side or new job, possibly in the food industry. We'll find out maybe at the end of turn 16. General Graham ends up with 5 ADCs. General Rail with 4. General Rail's going to put re-rolls and everything on his people. No, he didn't. I forgot I only have 1 AC. I forgot I did Stand With Me on General Menet. So he's back. So General Rail can hold off on his resume making. I was like, I got confused there for a second. All right, so I'm going to rethink I was about to do something with my ADCs, but now I've got a different idea. All right, French are going to keep it simple. General Lamatière is going to get a reroll with an ADC attachment. Same thing for General Boyer. And then we're going to get 2 ADCs down here, one for the faltering penalty and one for a reroll to try to keep it real. All right, General Graham's going to go for it. He's going to join, I think is that General Robinson? Yeah, and then do a post of honor. Try to charge down this brigade, what's left of back here, and just shove them off the board with an absolute crush move. That uses 2 ADCs, and then he's going to use his last 3 over here on General Halkett. Use a forwards tasking and a reroll to bring these troops across the bridge as well, and to reinforce the bridgehead. That'll be the end of General Graham's ADCs for the game, unless he gets a double 6 somewhere. And boom. What does that do for me? I have no idea. I'm trying to think of what the hell to say next. Sorry about that. Yeah, so we'll do French won the initiative last turn. So they will get, see if their brigades are active or not first. General Menet becomes hesitant. General Gauthier rallies and becomes hesitant. And the rest of the French stuff is following commands. So pick up their ADC attachments. And yeah, that is it. So they'll be rolling 46 on initiative compared to whatever the British get. General Amtida with the Hanoverian Brigade. They're pretty tattered. They're just putting that sucker in neutral and just rolling down the hill. They're hesitant this turn. Everything else is active. And, so it's going to be good stuff. All right, so initiative-wise, the British will be rolling 3d6, taking the lowers 2, and the French will be doing the same thing, but with 4d6. General Graham will win with a 7 compared to General Rail's 5. So the British will have initiative for turn 15, and charge phase will be probably a double threat. Yes, let's do this. Do post of honor with General Robinson and General Graham. They're going to surge forward, and the lead unit will recover a casualty, and they're going to add the forwards bonus and not take the extra reroll. All right, now they get there. Now let's just, while we're on a roll here, let's do the General Halkett's forwards motion for his forwards bonus for his brigade to cross the bridge and to attack Abuchuco. So General Halkett goes in with just the buffs, unsupported, because he didn't have an infantry assault against Abuchuco. The rest of his units move forward, except for the skirmish base. They moved over to the left to concentrate with the 1st KGL Light on that Léger battalion that's still in line there. That was probably something more for the movement phase, but since I had a forwards tasking, I just went ahead and just logistically moved everything right now, because all of these French units are going to fire at traversing fire at charging British units anyway. Okay, so let's do closing fire. First we'll just do the easy one. 2nd Battalion, 118th, who are warned the garrison. They're going to fire 4 shots at the buffs as they come on in against the garrison's walls of Abuchuco. They have no effect on the buffs, so we'll just see that in the melee phase at the end of the turn. I'm going to knock out the traversing fire. The Léger and that battalion over there are going to fire at the 2 lead units as they charge past on their forwards move down towards those gentlemen. So they're going to split their fire on both of those lead battalions, which are going to be the 1st Royal Scots and I guess the East Kent. We'll start off with the Léger, and that'll be a well-disciplined volley. Does 1 casualty to the East Essex, excuse me. They're up to 4, and the buffs are now up to 1 casualty. Alright, now we'll do, this unit has fire discipline, so this will be an inferior volley doing the same thing. That does 1 casualty to both units again. We'll force a discipline check on the East Essex, saving his line, needing a 7. They make the save, yes. Now we'll get the closing fire from the target of the charge. They're unformed, so this will be an inferior blast, just with 1 CD because they're an attack column, but 1 extra CD for firing into another attack column. And they have no effect. So the East Essex took 2 casualties. They need 3 to get the bump up to 3 dice. They're formed, so they don't get 1 there. So they're rolling with 2d6 for the initial charge. They do have 2 supports. The French will have 2 supports, but they'll be rolling 3d6 because they are unformed, taking a lower 2. Both sides end up with a 7 on the initial clash. Here comes the 1st Royal Scots pouring into the hand-to-hand to try to just push these French off the battlefield. 1st Royal Scots with their dander up go crazy again. Oh, I gotta check. I don't know if you can support if you're unformed. Let me check that real quick. I forgot, these guys are unformed, so I was gonna say they can both fire. You know, one of them will hit the Inniskilling and one will hit the 1st Royal Scots. The 1st Royal Scots go up to 3 casualties. Yeah, unformed units in support can either form square or provide a closing or a fire. That's it. They can't fire support. They can't support in hand-to-hand. So the British are going to end up with an 11, and the French are going to end up with a 7. It'll be a win by 4 for the British. So it's going to be take the ground, and they're going to be retreats and withdrawals, which are going to push them off the map. They're already on the edge. 3 of those units are going to run, which will shatter the brigade. Oh my gosh, this is going to have big time problems. Alright, so that entire brigade's going to falter with 3 of their 5 battalions gone, which will also force the defenders of Abuchuco to flee as General Lemaitre abandons his position, and the buffs will take the objective. Oh, what a nightmare. I took some cinematic, I don't know what you'd say, but just because the French got pushed off and the British were able to take the ground, and also the retreating units out of Abu Chuko, with the buffs moving in and becoming unformed, the rest of the British would have been unopposed to basically reposition themselves against the French. So now you've got British troops cross the bridge, holding objective. General Halkett standing on a bridge that's been captured. General Graham inside of Abu Chuko. General Robinson basically in the French rear quarter. And their two brigades are kind of fanned out to begin their assault on what's left of Boyer's brigade. That's kind of caught out in the middle here. So that'll end the charge phase. It also would end the melee phase. It was at the end of the turn because that didn't happen after that brigade shattered. From now on, the French will be down to 5 ADCs as General Lamatière has fled the battlefield, heading back towards the French frontier. And boom, we'll go on into movement phase. With that charge phase done, it's time for movement phase. Addison's down here. She's going to help me. I'm going to work in a little bit. So I thought I'd knock out the rest of this turn. I started this morning when I got off work. Only got one more week of night shift left after this, so I'm pumped and get back on a regular shift. And it's British have the initiative, so they will be moving first. Not a lot of movement here. The British didn't want to block any of their artillery or mask any of their artillery. So 60th Royal American has 8 casualties now. They don't want to become a victim. So they pulled back. Well, they reformed lined and stepped back. They have to change formations first if you're a veteran unit. I got that right. They stayed still. The guns are still in place. These gentlemen were hesitant. So they weren't hesitant, but they still want to move and mask those guns. It's not time to launch this attack yet. Over here, that French attack column is moving out to the left to almost do like a deny the flank. Hopefully next maneuver is now as the British have overtaken the left of the French line as they take over that area around Abu Chuko. And yeah, I think everything else is going to sit still. Alright, so we'll go into skirmish firing. The British will be firing first. I'm going to have Addison's going to be rolling some dice for me. First up, the 1st Brigade of the KGL Light going to fire across the river at these gentlemen. Alright, Addison's first roll in a while. She misses with the KGL Light against the French. Alright, 4 more shots from that skirmish base here, also firing at that same unit. 1st Battalion of the 5th Légère takes a 2nd casualty as Addison pounds them. Alright, yeah. Alright, we'll go over here. We've got the Highland skirmish line, not the Highland, the Hanoverian skirmish line. They're just going to be firing 2 shots at Gomorrah Mayor. So, anything's good. Alright, that does not hit. This bangs on the wall. Alright, so French skirmish fire. All they've got, I think, is the skirmishers at Gomorrah Mayor. I think they're warned, so they're going to 4 shots. They'll be shooting 3 shots at the Hanoverian riflemen. Alright, that has 0 effect. And that's it for skirmish firing. Artillery-wise, we'll go on to the 1st British gun here. Firing at effective fire. They'll nail those guys and do bounce through into them. British artillery inflicts a 2nd casualty on the 1st Battalion 4th Légère. And, yeah, take that, sucker. The final artillery phase, these British guns down here on the British far left are going to fire at this square. Actually, yeah, they're going to fire at this square with 8 casualties. And that artillery blast does another 2 more casualties to that line, battalion, and square. They're up to 10 now. I thought they were reservists at first, but they're still there. Okay, so that'll end turn 15. We're going on to turn 16 right away before I go to work. And we're going to roll for ADC availability. Aide de camp. So I just finished watching the first part of the Talavera battle on Little Wars TV. A little reversal of history. That happens on my channel all the time. Alright, we'll see you in a second with ADC rolls. On this roll, Addison will be rolling 4 blue dice for the French. Nope, 5 blue dice for the French and 6 for the British. All right, General Graham ends up with 6 ADCs. General Rail with 5. Addison did a great job for both sides, which is awesome. And now we'll allocate these. The British won initiative last turn, so they'll go first. Starting them early. Addison's putting cotton balls out as the British lower their muskets. Good job, girl. All right. I got to figure out what to do. I'm watching cotton. We're already pre-placing cotton balls. Just trying to get Addison into this, and she's doing a great job. Okay, so let's place some ADCs. British have put everything, well, mostly everything here on General Hay. Even though he is a bold brigadier, he's going to get a forwards tasking, going to get infantry assault, and a reroll, because you don't get your bold brigadier reroll if you have more than 1 ADC on it. So he's going to take his boys and go across the bridge and try to attack Gamara Mayor, which is just going to be an absolute blast. All right, over here, the last 2 ADCs, they gave 1 to General Halkett and 1 to General Robinson, just to keep them moving forward. The cavalry is just basically there as a decoy, locking the French cavalry in place, it feels like. And then, of course, General Anson, no, not General Anson, he's the cavalry commander. General Stedman's a bold brigadier, so he'll get a reroll anyway. All right, over here on this disaster, we did a reroll for General Boyer as he tries to hold out and just stay active against this whole British left now, or the British right that's extended across the river. He's in trouble. Everybody knows that. General Manet gets a reroll, plus he's going to take a glory. He's going to go down in a blaze of glory against the British coming across the bridge. And then over here, the last 2 ADCs both go rerolls just to prevent hesitancy on the last 2 brigades down here. These guys don't know what to do. If they change formation, the cavalry comes. If they don't change formation, they get blown up by cannons. We'll do the British first. Addison will be rolling that cool stuff. We'll see in 1 second. Addison's a fan of my name tags. She found General Anson down there, and he is marked as a hesitant. Everything else is active for the British. So when we do initiative, the British are rolling 3d6, taking a lower 2. First thing Addison said when she rolled, she was like, oh gosh, I screwed them over. Yeah, I think she did. General Manet goes hesitant in the center as the British rush towards him. And then in the abject horror over here, General Boyer, he also goes hesitant. Oh boy. All right, first things first will be the charge phase. Addison will be rolling some 2 dice for the British to go across and slam into the Légère. The British won initiative. Now we will go on to the charge phase. First up will be the bonus roll to the British charging across the bridge at Gamara Mayor. Here we go, baby. Yeah! All right, great roll by the British, and then move up the 28th behind them as the British storm across the Gamara Mayor bridge. All right, so we're going to get a traversing fire from the garrison, and then we're going to get closing fire from the Légère battalion. So we'll get 4 dice from the French into skirmish fire from the garrison into the 59th. All right, the 59th, 2nd Nottingham, suffers a casualty from the garrison. Now the Légère is going to fire a well-disciplined volley into these gentlemen. So they'll get a standard volley, plus a CD for being grenadier, plus another CD for firing into a charging attack column. The 1st Battalion, 4th Légère, answers the call to defend the French. They unload into the British with Addison's first double 6 roll. They do 5 casualties, raising them to 7. So we're going to get a discipline check from the British. Then we're going to get a destiny roll for the French, and we'll see what's left. Let me double check. I think the British are line, and so they're going to be would need a 7, but now they're worn, so they're going to be saving as reservists, looking for an 8. All right, so Addison ends up rolling a retreat. So they're going to take 4 CDs of casualties. They're going to fall back off the bridge. They're going to unform the, is it the 45th? The 45th that are behind them. And that charge does not happen. So So that charge does not happen as they get repulsed. They're way back here. They unform them. They take 3 more casualties of guys just running, trying to get back to Portugal. They want to go back to the Balearic Islands and party. Yeah, good luck, gents. And they have what? Now they're at 10 casualties. They're 2 away from being broken. And that'll be another failed bridge assault, which just isn't easy. I've never been taking part in one in person. Don't really ever plan on doing that. But that'll end the charge phase. All right, we'll go to the movement phase, and we'll be right back. British moving first. Just while I'm pointing at it, the French unit did not move closer to the British. They just extended line and did like a refuse to flank over there. British creep forward through the woods. They'll be firing through the trees. They also moved up there. They'll be firing straight ahead. We're going to get a classic Napoleonic gun line here as the French just desperately try to hold on to their left. These gentlemen already moved. I had plans to prolong these guns and then open up a firing lane with these gentlemen, but after the chargers repulsed, I was talking to Addison, we're just going to hold still, and because now there's nothing obstructing artillery fire, and these guys will continue to just hammer away down here as General Gauthier is looking for a retirement plan. All right, for skirmish shooting, it's just going to be British stuff. Hanoverians will fire their 2 shots at the defenders of Gamara Mayor. Now they have no impact at all. The skirmish line here for the British for Halkett's brigade are going to fire at that Léger battalion. And the KGL light battalion will get 4 shots at that same Léger battalion. They take 1 more casualty. They're up to 4 now. They're just kind of nickel and diming these guys to death. That actually ends the skirmish firing for, what term are we in? 16? 16! Addison's 16, so it's cool. All right, artillery, just the British guns. Now that the British were repulsed crossing the bridge, these guns will just fire at those Léger again with 1 CD bounce through into the next battalion behind them. All right, the bounce through doesn't happen, but the French Léger take 2 more casualties and go up to 4 casualties. They'll have to take a discipline check, which we'll do in a minute. I forgot to roll their destiny roll when they did that awesome volley. They actually might recover a casualty. Let's see what happens. With the destiny roll, that Léger unit would have recovered a casualty, so they're down to 3 again. Now we'll make their discipline check. They are grenadiers, so they'll save, needing a 6. All right, they passed their discipline check, so that's great. Way to go, gentlemen. Last British gun down here. Let me go look at it. British artillery down here for 4th Brigade. Going to fire into this square one more time. That unit is dispersed as they get hammered by artillery fire. Faltering General Gauthier, and that ends the artillery phase. We'll go down to volley fire, and then I got to get to work. Go from left to right for the British. 1st Battalion 69th will fire straight ahead. They're going to split their fire between these 2 battalions. 1st Battalion 5th Léger takes 2 casualties. They're up to 6. The 2nd Battalion 27th Line Battalion takes 2 casualties. So they split that double 6 that Addison rolled again. The extra CD did no casualties. We'll say this was kind of the primary unit. So they'll take the discipline check and then the destiny roll. Discipline check first, needing a 7. Alright, they grabbed 2 red dice. Alright, they passed that. Now we're going to do a destiny roll. Addison's going to roll double 6s all day, it looks like. That's my 3rd 11 on a destiny roll, and I know what that is. That's the brigade falters. One of the, like the XO gets killed, and that's going to cause all kinds of problems for Boyer. Now he has 2 faltering brigades. That's not good. Now we've got the 1st Battalion 88th. They're going to fire everything into that same unit with a well-disciplined volley. They did move. They take 3 more casualties, going up to 5. No discipline check there. And then finally we get the 27th. They're in the trees. They're going to split their fire between these 2. The trees will knock it down to a inferior volley, but it will be well disciplined. Alright, they take one casualty. They take another one as they split that stuff. They're worn now. So now we'll get the French firing back. This unit moved. They'll fire 2 blue dice with an inferior volley because they're firing into the trees. 27th takes a casualty. They're up to 1. Now we'll get the 29th firing an inferior volley because of the they're worn, and they'll split their fire between these 2 British battalions. The 88th takes 1 casualty, and then the Légère, they'll fire at normally, if skirmishers are in the front, but they're across the river and they're obscured. So I'm not going to take the 1 casualty off. They're going to fire a well-disciplined volley. No, they won't. Yeah, it'll be well-disciplined, but it'll be inferior because they're worn, but they'll have 1 extra CD for being grenadier against the 69th. Alright, and they do 1 casualty to the British, but they also suffer a fire discipline. They're just getting panicky because they're getting hit from everywhere. They're really worried about their retreat path. That'll end turn 16. So we go to turn 17. That's the penultimate turn. Everybody thank Addison for taking part in miniature wargaming. She's been here a couple times. She's the best. And boom, we'll see in 17 as the battle for the bridges is it's going pretty well. I had a moment there. I gotta go to work. I'm really late. All right, bye. For some reason, I decided I could not remember Zadorra bridges, so boom. All right, see you in a second. Alright, welcome to turn 17. Gonna roll for ADC availability. French will be rolling 5, British rolling 6. Right now the French have 2 faltering brigades, if you don't remember. One over here, General Gauthier, and then on the other flank, General Boyer, and just General Menet's holding it together. British don't have any faltering brigades right now, I'm 99% sure. Maybe 100, I don't know. And let's do it. Well, that was not bad. The British end up with 6 ADCs. The French have 4. The French are going to, just because we know what they're going to do, they put brigade rally orders on both of their flank brigades and a re-roll for each to give them the best chance of succeeding. British are going to put a re-roll on Halkett down here on the bridge, and then everything else is going to go down here on the left. 2 forwards taskings, one for General Stedman, who's bold, and a forward tasking and a re-roll on Ansom to get that team going. British won the initiative last turn, so they're going to go first and see which of their brigades are active. Everything on the flanks is good to go for the British, but in the center, General Hay and General Amtida both go hesitant. Alright, let's see what the French have got going on. Alright, General Gauthier and General Boyer both rallied, so they're hesitant. General Menet in the center is hesitant. The only thing that isn't hesitant for the French is the cavalry under General Courteau. And that's it. So they're going to be rolling a 3 dice penalty on initiative, which will give them 5d6 to roll. The British will be rolling 4d6 for initiative right now. General Rail wins initiative. He's going to give it up immediately to get what's his name back? General Menet not being hesitant. Alright, there are no charges this turn, so first up will be movement. British will be moving first now that the French have surrendered the initiative. And we'll start off with the Highland Brigade under Stedman to see what their forwards bonus is. Let's see what General Ansom's forward bonus is. I'm gonna need the pointer for this one. A lot of units didn't. Oh, that unit will recover fire discipline. I got to get that off. Over here, these guys are just gonna content to wail away on each other in line, do volley fire, see who wins there. Over here, these guys were gonna stay stationary. Well, these guys stay stationary. These guys saw what's coming at them. They formed square. General Rail and General Mayne took refuge into the infantry squares. Also, the battalion up on the hill went into infantry square. First thing happened is the British cavalry wheeled across the bridge and are moving down the flank here. Then this brigade under Stedman crossed over the bridge, and the French, now that was one of the reasons they wanted to give up the initiative, they were able to respond to the British move. They took their units out of square, went into line. French cavalry moved forward to try to intercept the British cavalry, and boom, so we're gonna have fire coming out of here and here. These guys have forwards tasking, so they won't be doing anything, just taking it like a boss. And then this artillery prolonged to here, and they've got a nice juicy target of French squares across the river. Alright, starting off with skirmish shooting for the British. We'll start down here as these three remaining bases of skirmishers will fire. We normally fire 5 shots, but shooting 4 at that Leger. They do 1 casualty on them, raising them to 7. 1st Battalion KGL Light will fire 4 shots as well at those gentlemen. Leger Battalion is up to 8 casualties now. Next, British skirmishers are firing across the river. It's going to be like 2 shots against the defenders of Gamara Mayor. They're up to 7 casualties now. That ends British skirmish shooting. The French, well, will have that garrison of Gamara Mayor. They're going to fire at the British on the bridge with 4 shots. Sorry. They inflict 2 casualties on them, and then this garrison over here at Girona is going to fire into the Cameron Highlanders with 5 shots. Let me see if they're warned. It could be 4. Yes, they have 9 casualties, so that'll be 4 dice. They take a casualty, they're up to 4, so both Highland infantry battalions have 4 casualties. That'll end the skirmish shooting. Going into artillery, we'll start with this gun, which did prolong. We'll fire, let me make sure it's not 24 inches. Hits exactly 24 inches, so they'll fire an effective artillery at these gentlemen here with bounce through into the other square. The Leger Battalion takes 3 casualties, going up to 6. They're now worn. They're going to have to save as line unit because they are usually grenadier. Alright, they make that save, or discipline check. They stay formed. There was no bounce through. So don't get the other French gun firing an effective volley against them as well with the extra CD for them being in square. That square gets hammered for 4 more casualties. They take another discipline check. They're up to 10 now. Once again, saving his line. And once again, that Leger Battalion keeps it together. Those guys are some brave buggers. They're getting hit by cannonballs like you wouldn't believe. Alright, well, now we're going on to volley fire here. Starting with the British. We'll start over here with these gentlemen. I'm trying to remember who they are. Sorry about that. Sorry, the 69th from South Lincoln. They're in great shape. They'll fire straight ahead. They'll split their fire. This battalion will be their primary target. Phenomenal volley by those gentlemen, doing 4 casualties. These gentlemen go up to 8. They go to 10. They'll take a discipline check as reservists. That battalion breaks and retreats. I had to move them a bit farther just because there was no contact till they came to that unit there. Just because the British are kind of herniating out right here down the right-hand side, since they have taken the French left flank. So that's not good. So they'll take 4 more CDs of casualty as guys take off and run as they try to reform back there by the square. They take 3 more casualties, they fall back. They have 11 casualties now. They're 1 away from dispersal, and that's where they are. Not good. All right, now we'll get the 88th firing into these gentlemen here with a well-disciplined volley. They take 4 casualties from that tremendous volley. Going up to 5, they take a discipline check, needing a 7. And then finally they'll take a volley from the 27th. Will be an inferior volley firing through the trees at them. They are unformed now. They take 2 more casualties, going up to 7. They're worn now. Alright, time for the French to return fire. They're going to split their fire between these two. Most of their fire is going through the trees. They're already worn. It's supposed to be 1 CD. Oh, so they're not going to split their fire. That sucks. Let's fire 1 CD at these gentlemen. 27th is now up to 6 casualties as they take 1 casualty from that. And then the Leger is going to fire into the... it's the 69th? Yep. They are worn though, so it'll be an inferior volley with 1 CD for them being grenadiers. They take 2 casualties, going up to 3. Now the next volley for the French will be down here. These 2 reservist battalions, or one's, yeah, they're both reservists. 2nd Battalion, 118th, firing into the Black Watch. Black Watch is now worn with 6 casualties, and then we'll get an inferior volley from 1st Battalion, 119th, firing into the Cameron Highlanders. Doing a casualty on them, raising them to 5. Alright, and that'll end turn 17 as we go on to the last turn. British have stormed another bridge. Possibly getting ready to storm another one. Got cavalry coming up from the side. French dragoons trying to run them down. Initiative might be crucial in this next one. And these gentlemen over here of Boyer's Reserve Brigade starting to buckle as they have 1 battalion already fall off and run off the hill. Alright, should be awesome. Alright, we'll see you in a minute. Alright, welcome to the last turn. Turn 18. Let's see what can happen here. Borderline controlling 2 bridges right now, the British. Possibly 3, as they are on the bridge over here, and then this one's pretty much a wipeout. The French are close, though. Alright, so we'll do ADC availability. British rolling 6 again. French rolling 5. Let's see what happens, baby. After the initial roll, the British have 4, the French have 3. General Rail still has 1 CNC command left. He's going to use Chief of Staff. Re-roll the 2 he did not get, plus get 2 more. French will end up with 6 ADCs. The British will end up with 4. British will place first because they won initiative last turn. General Hay will get all the British ADCs. He gets infantry assault, glory, and forwards. That's it. So the French, let's see what they're going to do. They're going to try to beat the British to the initiative and charge with their cavalry against the British cavalry. They place a reroll with, or ADC attachment with Menet, a reroll ADC attachment with Boyer, and they go for it all over here with forwards, glory, and a reroll on General Curto. Oh, here we go, baby. Let's see who's active. Start with the British. General Antia and his Hanoverians hesitant again, and I don't blame him. And General Halkett is hesitant, but I think he's just going to lay down the law probably. If the French stick around, he's going to wear them out. Alright, see how General Rail's brigades do with this availability roll. Everything's active for the French, so they'll be rolling 2d6 for initiative. The British will be rolling 4d6. The British win initiative. I don't think it's going to matter for the cavalry over there because they don't have a charge. I wonder if they can. I don't think they're in 18 inches. Let me see. This might be a little bit of gamesmanship. Let me go through my thought process out loud. They are about 16 inches away from that square. They could charge them, which could be horrific. It would just be the first dragoons. They'd leave the hussars behind. The French cavalry do have forwards, but if they take part in the charge, they can't charge them. Charging around in a circle to attack the Queen's Own Hussars is not going to happen. So, do we charge with the Hussars against the square, or do we get charged in the flank by the dragoons? But basically, if the British charge, the French will just be able to move, and they won't be able to do any charging at all. So I'm probably going to do that. It's a bit cheeky, but probably do it. I had set up the British cavalry to do that, but I wasn't expecting the way they've been rolling initiative. I wasn't expecting that to lose it, but that's okay. So there's a charge. The other one will do a forwards bonus for these gentlemen. They go across the bridge and attack those guys in the square. I was really considering not giving a reroll to one of the French brigades during the ADC allocation and saving one for basically an initiative reroll dice. But I was like, if I get them all, I'll have less dice. And I kind of already knew that the British had a couple, because the British were going first and all their rolls and stuff. So like they've already seen what cards they have. They're gonna have 4 dice. There's a good chance if I get everyone active and no one's hesitant, I could get just 2 for the French, which I did. And then the British just rolled like amazingly for their initiative and beat the French when they had 4 dice versus 2. Well, the French kind of hosed it too, getting a 5. So tactical risk there, but oh well, you do what you can. But that's, if the French would have won initiative, this would have been a dragoons charging into the rear of the British dragoons first. There would have been a cavalry fight where probably the dragoons would have won. Sorry, I shouldn't say dragoons because they're both dragoons. The French would have won, and then they get shoved off. I don't know where they would have gone. I guess they would have retreated back across the bridge, unforming the 60th Royal American on the bridge, and that would have been pretty crazy because their plan for them is to the 2 Highland battalions are going to shake out into line in the movement phase, and then the 60th is going to go into skirmisher formation to unload into the garrison. So they wouldn't be able to do that if they were unformed, I don't think. They would have to reform. Or if they could do it, they would have remained unformed in skirmish formation, and then they would have lost another dice shooting at. They would have been 3 dice down shooting at a built-up area. So, yeah, a little interesting. Good little things of what ifs could have happened. All right, sorry, that was a bit of a, I just wanted to share my thoughts on why I did that and see what everybody thinks. All right, so 2 charges. I guess let's do the cavalry first, as the first rolled dragoons charge down a formed square of légère. The légère will fire closing fire. I believe it's 1 die. I believe they get 2 CDs though, because one they're grenadier, and the other because they're firing into a column attacking them. The bonus says charging infantry column, not cavalry column. So just 1 extra CD for being grenadier. This is not a surefire thing. It's probably, well, might be for the French. Charging a square with cavalry not easy to do. I think you have to win by like 6 to even have a chance. Be very dependent on what the French roll. The British, of course, and the British, because the British won't have any supports, the French won't have any supports. They'll both be rolling 2d6. And the French inflicted 1 casualty on the 1st Royal Dragoons as they came on in, if I didn't mention that. The cavalry is going to get repulsed. They're both going to take 1 CD. The cavalry is going to fall back and be unformed as the infantry square stands and just takes 1 CD damage. British end up back there, unformed, and take a casualty. I did forget that this square is, they are worn, so they technically would have rolled 3 dice. So we'll kind of bear with me here. We'll just kind of be fair. And that's what we're at right now. 3, and the British had 4 and the French had 7. We'll roll the extra, grab another blue dice. Sorry about that. French will roll their extra die because they would have rolled 3d6 and taken the lower 2. So they would end up with a 5 versus the 4, been a loss by 1. Which is the exact same result. It's pretty wide for cavalry versus infantry, especially in the square. Alright, it takes care of that. And there was no re-rolls, even though the cavalry was veteran, the infantry was grenadier. Alright, so that finishes that charge. Now we've got this one. We'll have the Gamora garrison firing, is that right? Yeah, the Gamora Mayor garrison firing 4 shots at these gentlemen crossing the bridge, and then they'll get 1 CD from the Leger, plus an extra CD. And this time they actually get 2 extra CDs because of they are being charged by infantry in column. 45th suffers 2 casualties, going up to 4, which is not enough. You want to get that 3rd casualty on a charge to get the extra dice thrown in there. And here they come. They're going to get attacked with 2 dice. They get a reroll. The French get a reroll for being grenadier versus line, but they're in square, and that's about it. 11 versus 9. French can't take a chance of getting hosed in that one. So if they reroll that 4 or the 5, they'll probably get lower. So they'll combat unformed. The British natural formation is not attack column, so they do not get the elan. So they'll just combat formed versus combat unformed in melee. But the British do have glory, and that'll be at the end of the turn, which is awesome. French cavalry, though it looks like a tempting target, the British took part of the charge phase already, so they cannot be charged. So they'll just, I don't know what they'll do. They'll probably just move off and screen a retreat if necessary to rejoin the rest of the French army south of here for the La Hermidad and for the final assault on Vitoria, because they don't have anybody to charge right now. Alright, so we'll go into movement phase. French moving first. I don't think they've got a lot of stuff to move here. Yeah, because that unit got hammered into square. These guys they'll reform. We'll get some reforming, that's probably it. And the French might close their lines. Actually, these guys are going to do a retreat move to the rear of them to let the other unit take the brunt of the fight before they buckle. Alright, so after the movement phase, the Highland brigades have gone into line. Of course, the cavalry has fallen back here after that. The French were hesitant, so they couldn't move. They stayed in line. They could have fallen back, but why not? The 60th Royal American just changed formation to skirmish formation so they can inflict casualties onto the garrison. French cavalry just pulled back in preparation of some kind of screening action or to move to the south, which is this direction towards me, to join the rest of the French battle. This is on the extreme right of the French line at Vitoria. These guys did not move. Those guys got the hit me sign on them from the British guns. Hanoverians back there not moving. These guys retreated to the second line. You get marked with a retreat, but it doesn't count towards the status of 2 retreating units faltering the brigade. These gentlemen formed up with them to form a line. British stayed static. When the French kind of moved forward, they obliqued. They got out of range of the British skirmishers over here, but they are still in range of the 1st KGL. We'll shoot a couple shots at them, probably 4. So that's it. So speaking of shooting skirmishers, it's skirmish fire time. We'll start off. It is the French initiative. No, it's British initiative. My fault. Oh, I almost forgot that they won initiative. I still can't believe they won. We'll start off with the 60th Royal American. They'll, wow. Give me a minute to add this up. They'll get 3 shots at the garrison, who are at 9 casualties right now. They go up to 10 casualties in there. Coming down here, we'll get 2 shots from Hanoverian skirmish line firing at the garrison here. That'll have no effect, and the last skirmish shooting for the British will be the KGL Light 1st Battalion firing 4 shots at those gentlemen. And that'll inflict 1 casualty, or the 1st casualty, onto the 2nd Battalion, 5th Léger. Alright, French skirmish fire shooting back. The garrison in there is already fired, so it's just these gentlemen down here firing 4 shots against the 60th Royal American. They inflict a casualty onto them, getting them up to 9 casualties. Alright, now both British guns are going to fire at that Léger square there. I'm going to roll them at the same time. That inflicts 3 casualties on them, which will disperse the unit, faltering that brigade. General Rail falls back on the ridge where his boys are forming up for the retreat away from the Zadorra River, as the British and Germans come pouring through on the bridges. Oh, it's not looking good. Okay. Going to musketry. Cameron Highlanders, I believe they have 5 casualties. Fire a well-disciplined volley into the 1st Battalion, 119th. Holy smokes, that inflicts 4 casualties on them. Would have forced a discipline check. That's a reservist unit, that 10. So they buckle and disperse. Ouch. That'll falter that brigade. Now the Black Watch will fire at this untouched reserve battalion, 2nd Battalion, 119th. Black Watch is worn, so that was an inferior volley, but it does do 2 casualties to the 2nd Battalion, 119th. Come down here, we'll do the 1st Battalion, 69th on the far British right, firing straight ahead into this new Léger battalion. Putting 3 casualties on them, raising them to 4. And now we'll get a double volley from the 88th and the 27th into this line unit here of the 1st Battalion, 27th with 7 casualties. This will be a inferior volley because they're worn. They suffer 6 casualties and disperse at 13. Oh, that falters that brigade. So all 3 remaining French infantry battalions have faltered. It's all over but the crying. British volley fire is complete. Now we will do the French returning fire. This battalion will fire into the Black Watch with a just with a good volley. They do 4 casualties onto the Black Watch, raising them to 10, forcing a discipline check. They'll save as line unit, needing a 7. The Black Watch loves it. They passed their discipline check. That was a great volley by the French. Kind of maybe a little bit too late. And now there's no volley fire over here. We'll just get this Léger battalion firing straight ahead into these gentlemen with an extra CD. Doing 2 casualties on them, raising them to 5. I can't believe the French lost 3 infantry battalions and all 3 infantry brigades are faltering. That's insane. But, you know, just, I don't even know. Crazy. The game is awesome. All right, hand to hand. British going in against a square. We got Glory going on. I don't know if the Grenadier makes a difference for the French, and the British are line. Looks like the British will be rolling 6 dice with their Glory, and the French will be rolling 4 because they're unformed. The 45th takes the ground unformed with 7 casualties. Their supports come across the bridge and start occupying this bridgehead. The French retreat, fall back with the rest of their gentlemen back there. They have 5 casualties with their retreat status. Their brigade's faltering. And that's all she wrote. French have kind of moved, or accidentally, or been forced to consolidate on this hill on the French right at Vitoria. They will fall back. This will be a British victory, especially with all 3 French infantry brigades in falter status. Thankfully, the 2 French dragoon regiments are there to screen any kind of retreat. They still have troops in 2 of the villages, but I'm not sure if they would. They'd probably boogie. They could hold out and just fight to the last man. You never know. But not looking good for the home team. But this is another British victory at Vitoria. I think they lost the first battle just by a technicality. And ever since then, they have just been on a butt-kicking fest. So they win again. And we'll head on to, I think, La Hermidad's the next battle. And let's see what happens there. I'm still playing around with the idea of just blowing up that order of battle and making it turning it into a divisional game, but I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. It'll be kind of fun. I mean, a core level game. I'm craving a core level game, even though I know the last game is. So I'll think on that. There's also a possibility of playing it over Discord with Scott. So that'll be that's an option as well. Just waiting and playing it halfway correctly with Scott. So we'll see if we can get our schedules together. This week's my last week on night shift coming up. And then I'll get a little gravy train going on a day shift and hanging out where my wife works. So it'll be I'll be working over there too. It'll be kind of nice to. We've been waiting 30 years to work together, so it'll be kind of cool to be in the same hospital. All right, so that is it. Phenomenal game. General Desarmées is amazing. Next up on this channel, an Alpha Strike battle. My daughter Addison is pumped to play, so I'm going to try to get her in here. I've got to finish up a little bit of terrain. There's been some great General Desarmées content the last week or two. Of course, they don't need any hype from me because they're kind of like the ultimate wargaming channel, in my opinion. Little Wars TV have done their Talavera part 1. They got another part coming up, and it's nice seeing David Brown on the playing the role of narrator for that battle. I got a feeling he's going to take a bigger part in the follow-up battle and a what if, because the French won that one, which is oh well, it happens. If it all happened the way historically it happened, it wouldn't be as exciting, in my opinion. And also Dom and his friends at Boots on the Table, they played a game of General Desarmées the other day, which was great. Another, highly recommend that. My boy JP's been busy, he said. He said he can't wait to play, but he's been doing all kinds of crazy stuff at work. So he's been doing some painting some Civil War guys too, so he expects some Civil War content from him, from Pickett's Charge. You never know. And of course, Scott, he played a game of Midgard. So that's another great system. I got a buddy of his down the road from him to play with him. So that's awesome. So I kind of made me want to play another Midgard game. So that's it. And stand by. We'll get the follow-up video to you with the casualties. I'll probably do a ending follow-up video for this battle, plus a little prep work from the behind-the-scenes stuff on the Alpha Strike BattleTech battle coming up, because there's a lot of, if you're not familiar with BattleTech, there's a lot of history and lore attached to that. And since we are taking part in a basically inside of that, I don't know, inside that lore, I guess is the best way to say it, at a particular time period in the War of 3039, a lot of the battles I'm going to be fighting are going to be directly related to that that source book, as the FedCom launches their attack into Draconis Combine space, taking on the Dragon. All right, we'll see what happens. You guys are awesome. I'm looking forward to playing that, and it's going to be some huge BattleTech action. And then in the background, I'll be finishing up my Prussians. Doing pretty good on them. Really rocking them out. I've just really got some facings and the hands and feet to do, and then some touch-up stuff. It's some, of course, the bayonets and stuff like that. And then those guys will be ready to. There'll be 6 more battalions of Prussian infantry. I think I have 4 Prussian guns to paint and 2 more Austrian guns to paint. So 3 more artillery batteries for the coalition. And I got some more commanders to do and everything else. So I think that's it. I got a lot of stuff going on. This is almost turning into an update video. So a lot of, and I'm knocking out the Union Civil War for Epic. So because we're in August, I really don't know if I'm going to make this deadline, but we'll see. I have no idea what my schedule is how busy I'm going to be with this new job I'm taking, working in the operating room. So I've never worked in one, so this will be something different for me after doing this for 30-something years. So cool. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.